It's author and journalist Kate Thompson here to tell you a little more about the Secret Society of Librarians. In October 2022, I had a life-changing encounter. I met a 95-year-old Holocaust survivor in London and agreed to help write her life story before it was too late. Rini Salt is a survivor of 2 ghettos and 3 concentration camps. For 6 years, she stared into the abyss of almost unimaginable darkness. With the exception of her 2 aunts, her entire family were murdered by the Nazis and their collaborators. Rini doesn't remember her experiences of the Lodz Ghetto, Auschwitz-Birkenau and Bergen-Belsen, but she relives them through a series of vivid flashbacks. The tangle of human bodies, the smoking crematoria chimney stacks and the sealed cattle carts are all still there, sort of imprinted behind her eyelids. I vowed to help her piece together her shattered past. Whilst I was in Lodz in Poland researching Rini's 2-year incarceration, I learnt that there were secret libraries in the ghetto. Prisoners set up clandestine lending libraries and loaned out books which they stored in hidden rooms. Some 30,000 dusty books from age-old heirlooms to holy books were rescued and lovingly preserved and catalogued. Shelves reaching up to the ceiling were filled with books that had been handed down for generations, forming a unique but precarious ghetto library. I couldn't shake this library from my mind, and I knew that when I'd finished Rini's book, which was an instant Toronto Star and Globe and Mail bestseller, Do Not Cry When I Die, which came out in the States and Canada in January 2025, I would return to that library, if only in my imagination. Aren't human beings remarkable? Even in a ghetto that was ruthlessly isolated from the outside world, the fact that prisoners managed to establish a cultural life and hold on to their intellectual freedom proves to me that reading is an act of resistance. The novel began to take shape in my mind, and I wanted to share a picture of 2 very different libraries, one operating under a Nazi occupation and the other in bomb-battered Britain. When I discovered the true story of London's only travelling library, in a library archive, where else, set up in the Blitz to deliver books to the bombed, I was spellbound. Can you imagine how it must have felt to see this huge library bus bumping up London's cratered streets, for women and children sleeping underground and in Anderson shelters to be able to pop out and borrow a book that essentially pressed pause on life and drowned out the sound of the bombs must have been nothing short of magic. What if the 2 libraries were somehow connected? And the answer came to me after interviewing for my podcast the intriguingly named the Society of Secret Library Friends. They are a small grassroots group formed in Idaho in the United States to offer solidarity and support between librarians in the States. I interviewed 2 of their members and I was deeply shocked by what they told me. They described a growing climate of fear, censorship, and power in the United States that's led to books like Anne Frank's diary being removed from their shelves. Some library workers told me they'd even be dubbed as evil and predatory simply for stocking sex education books in their libraries. They talked to the new wave of censorship and how librarians have become scapegoats for political agenda. I mean, I'm sure that this is nothing new to you in the States, but I was very shocked to hear of that here in the UK. And it occurred to me that suddenly the censorship of books during the Second World War doesn't seem all that remote. My conversation with the Society of Secret Library Friends left me feeling inspired. It struck me how very much we all need defenders of the book, aka publishers, librarians, and booksellers in our life. And thus my secret society of librarians was born.